One of the rarest and most valuable pennies ever struck in the history of the United States Mint. That's not a dream. That's the reality of the 1969 era Lincoln penny, a coin shrouded in mystery, controversy, and staggering value. By the end of this story, you'll see why this coin has captured the imagination of collectors worldwide, and why it remains one of the most legendary treasures in American coinage. What if I told you that an ordinary-looking penny, the kind you could find in your change or tucked away in an old jar? Imagine holding a single copper cent, a coin that most people wouldn't look at twice, only to discover. The story of the 1969 era Lincoln penny begins in a turbulent time in U.S. history. It was the late 1960s, an era of political unrest, social change, and uncertainty. The mint itself was undergoing huge pressure to keep up with coin demand, while also dealing with new technologies and production challenges. Against this backdrop, a small number of Lincoln cents emerged from the San Francisco Mint in 1969 that would forever change the world of coin collecting. These weren't ordinary pennies. They bore a mistake so dramatic and so unmistakable that it turned them into instant legends. This doubling error wasn't discovered right away. In fact, for some time, examples that surfaced were thought to be counterfeits. Back in the 1970s, the Secret Service even became involved, confiscating some of these coins because the doubling looked so unusual that authorities suspected they were fake. That's how rare and shocking this error appeared. But experts at the major grading services eventually confirmed that the coins were real. They were genuine mint errors, the result of a misalignment in the die-making process that caused the doubling during production. And once authentication was secured, the legend of the 1969's double-die Lincoln penny was born. Auction records tell the story best. Time and time again, the 1969 era Lincoln penny has sold for astonishing amounts. Prices have ranged from tens of thousands to well over $27,000 in top condition. Even circulated examples coins that show wear from years of use have sold for life-changing sums. But the excitement doesn't stop there. High-grade examples certified by top grading services like PCGS or NGC often sell in the $20,000 to $34,000 range, sometimes even more depending on the eye appeal and strength of the doubling. That's a fortune for a penny, and it explains why collectors treat this coin like a holy grail. Imagine sitting in an auction hall as one of these pennies comes up for bidding. The auctioneer starts at $10,000, the room grows tense, the bids climb higher and higher, and before you know it, the price has soared past $20,000, then $27,000, and sometimes even $34,000. All for a coin that originally cost just 1 cent to make. The drama, the suspense, and the thrill of watching history change hands is unlike anything else in the coin world. Grading plays a huge role in determining the value of these coins. Lower-grade examples that show wear can still bring tens of thousands of dollars, but high-grade examples with sharp details and minimal flaws are the true showstoppers. Coins graded MS65 and above are the ones that break records and grab headlines. The difference in value between a mid-grade coin and a high-grade gem can easily be tens of thousands of dollars, which is why condition matters so much in the world of rare coins. Another reason the 1969 era Lincoln penny is so fascinating is its place in the broader story of double-die errors. The Lincoln Cent series has produced some famous varieties, including the 1955 double-die and the 1970 double-die. But the 1969 stands out as one of the boldest and rarest of them all. Unlike some other varieties where the doubling is minor or limited to certain letters, the 1969 shows full, dramatic doubling across multiple inscriptions. It's unmistakable, undeniable, and unforgettable. That's why it commands such high prices and such intense collector demand. Imagine the thrill of actually finding one. You're going through an old jar of pennies, maybe something left behind by a grandparent, and there it is, a 1969 penny with the S mint mark below the date. You look closer and notice something strange. The letters seem doubled, the date seems doubled. Your heart skips a beat as you realize what you might be holding. A quick trip to a grading service could confirm your suspicions, and suddenly, you're not just holding a penny. You're holding a ticket to a small fortune. The 1964 DRSM Lincoln penny, a piece coin born from secrecy, errors, and a touch of mystery that has kept collectors on the edge of their seats for decades. By the end of this story, you'll understand why so many collectors dream of finding this elusive treasure, and why just one coin could completely change your life. Have you ever wondered if the smallest coin in your pocket could secretly be worth more than a brand new car, a house, or even a life-changing fortune? Imagine flipping through your change and spotting a simple Lincoln penny, a coin so common that millions of them passed through countless hands in 1964. But what if I told you that hidden among those ordinary copper cents is a mysterious... The story of the 1964 rarest Lincoln penny begins at a time of great transition for U.S. coinage. In the early 1960s, the United States Mint was under enormous pressure. Rising silver prices were threatening the future of circulating coins, demand was higher than ever, and experimental strikes were being made behind closed doors to test new designs and minting techniques. Somewhere in this whirlwind, a handful of mysterious special mint set, or SMS, coins were struck in 1964. These SMS coins were never officially released to the public. They were not part of any advertised mint set. In fact, their very existence was unknown for decades until a small number of them surfaced in the 1990s, shocking the numismatic world. What makes the 1964 rarest Lincoln penny so fascinating is not just its finish, but its mystery. Experts are still debating how these coins came to exist. Some believe they were struck as experimental test runs for the special mint sets that would officially begin in 1965. Others think they may have been created under special instructions for high-ranking mint officials or collectors with connections. And then there are the error varieties coins that slip through the presses with misstrikes, double dies, off-center designs, or other unusual features that magnify their rarity tenfold. Consider this. While an ordinary 1964 Lincoln penny may only be worth face value, an SMS strike instantly transforms it into something extraordinary, valued in the thousands. But when you add an error on top of that rarity, you step into an entirely new world of value. Imagine a coin with sharp SMS details, struck in 1964 at the Denver Mint, but with a double die obverse, showing Lincoln's profile, doubled across the coin. Imagine a coin with a misaligned die causing the design to shift off-center, or a dramatic striking error, leaving part of the design missing. Each of these errors makes the coin a one-of-a-kind masterpiece. And when rarity meets uniqueness, the market goes wild. That's how we arrive at jaw-dropping values like $20,000, $27,000, or even $34,000 for just a single penny. Collectors describe the 1964 SMS coins as enigmatic, mysterious, and legendary. Very few examples are known to exist, and they almost always appear in elite coin auctions. In fact, many times when one surfaces, it makes headlines in the numismatic community, sparking conversations and debates about its origin and value. When an error version shows up, it's treated like a once-in-a-lifetime event. Imagine sitting in an auction room, watching as a plain copper penny climbs from $10,000 to $15,000, then $20,000, and beyond. That's the power of this coin. One of the most important things to understand about the 1964 rarest Lincoln penny is its place in history. The year 1964 was a turning point in U.S. coinage. Silver was on its way out of dimes, quarters, and half dollars. The mint was preparing to change how proof and mint sets would be produced. And in the middle of this transition, these SMS coins appeared almost like ghosts. They weren't supposed to exist, and yet they do. Each one is a tangible reminder of a secretive period in minting history, a period full of experimentation and hidden decisions. For collectors, that historical mystery adds an extra layer of fascination and value. Now, let's talk about the errors themselves. The most desirable 1964 rarest pennies include double die obverses, where Lincoln's profile and inscriptions like Liberty or the date 1964 appear doubled. These are dramatic and easily visible without magnification, making them especially appealing to collectors. Then there are off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing because the blank planchet was misaligned during striking. There are also die cracks, cuts, and other striking anomalies that add unique character to the coin. Each of these errors not only sets the coin apart, but also boosts its value dramatically. The grading of these coins also plays a huge role. When a coin is certified by a top grading service like PCGS or NGC, its value becomes much clearer to the market. High-grade examples in MS66 or MS67 condition can command astronomical prices, especially if they display sharp SMS features and dramatic errors. Lower-grade examples are still valuable, but the top-end coins are where the real fireworks happen. In the world of coin collecting, there are rare coins, there are valuable coins, and then there are coins so mysterious, so scarce, and so breathtakingly unique that they capture the imagination of collectors for decades. One of these coins is the legendary 1964 SMS Lincoln penny. This isn't just a penny you might find tucked away in an old coffee can or a dusty drawer. No, this coin belongs to a class so rare that even seasoned collectors whisper its name with excitement. And in some cases, that's right, 1 cent, a coin that should have been pocket change. The story of the 1964 SMS Lincoln penny begins at a fascinating time in American coinage. The early 1960s were a turbulent period for the U.S. Mint. In 1964, the country was on the verge of changing coin compositions due to a severe nationwide coin shortage. Silver was disappearing from circulation, and the mint was under immense pressure to strike coins quickly and in huge numbers. It was in this chaotic environment that something strange happened. A mysterious group of coins, known as SMS coins, appeared. SMS stands for Special Mint Set, but here's the strange part: there was no official Special Mint Set released in 1964. The first recognized SMS came in 1965, and yet, a tiny handful of coins dated 1964 exist today, with unmistakable Special Mint Set qualities. Among them, the most famous and most valuable is the 1964 SMS Lincoln penny. Now, let's talk about value, because this is where things get really exciting. The 1964 SMS Lincoln penny is not just a curiosity, it's one of the most valuable pennies in modern numismatics. Auction records show jaw-dropping prices. Well-preserved examples, graded by PCGS and NGC, have routinely sold for $6,000, $8,000, $10,000, and even higher. One example brought in close to $14,000 at auction, stunning bidders who realize just how impossible it is to find one of these coins in the wild. Imagine holding a 1-cent coin in your hand and knowing it's worth more than a semester of college tuition or a down payment on a new car. That's the magic of the 1964 SMS Lincoln penny. For collectors who dream of owning one, the hunt is almost impossible. These coins don't just pop up in circulation. They're found in major auctions, often accompanied by great fanfare and heavy competition among bidders. Even lower-graded examples still command thousands of dollars, while high-grade specimens with clean surfaces can push the upper limits of value. When you see the hammer fall at $10,000 or $14,000, you realize this isn't just a coin, it's a trophy piece, a once-in-a-lifetime addition to any collection. Let's compare it for a moment to other rare Lincoln pennies. Coins like the 1909 SVDB, the 1914D, or the famous 1955 double die are all highly sought after. But those coins had mintages in the hundreds of thousands or even millions. The 1964 SMS Lincoln penny, on the other hand, might exist in quantities of fewer than 20 pieces. That level of rarity puts it in an entirely different category. It's not just rare, it's practically mythical. The excitement around this coin has only grown in recent years. As more collectors become aware of its existence, the competition to own one increases. Prices that were once in the $6,000 range have crept up closer to $10,000, and as examples continue to trade hands, it wouldn't be surprising to see values climb beyond $14,000 in the future. After all, when something is this rare, the laws of supply and demand work in a dramatic way. There are always more collectors who want the coin than there are coins available. Now, let's imagine for a moment you're flipping through an old coin album, maybe one passed down from a grandparent. You see a 1964 Lincoln penny that looks different. The surfaces are unusual, the rims are sharp, and it just feels special. What if, by some miracle, it turned out to be a 1964 SMS Lincoln penny? That single discovery could change your entire collection and your wallet overnight. This is the kind of dream that keeps collectors searching, attending shows, watching auctions, and hoping for that once-in-a-lifetime find.